Balsutopondruf el pandru kuperna, divine guidance, ifo sondrufu, alokui sefern lan, darwan, yufo bandrusu.
Hi, I'm Patricia McNair, your host of Divine Guidance with Patricia. If you are bursting to embrace and strengthen your connection to your divine guidance, your whole being, this is the show for you. Join me the first and third Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com. Are you ready to discover the amazing gift of the universe that is you? On Divine Guidance with Patricia, Spirit and I will trigger you to embrace and validate the light that you are. On my show, I will bring you thought-provoking, inspiring messages designed to ignite a spark of spiritual awareness, the first step to becoming a whole being. Join me on Divine Guidance with Patricia and discover your gifts and awaken your true sense of self to embrace and empower your spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being. Divine Guidance with Patricia starts now. Hi everyone, welcome to Divine Guidance with Patricia. Feels like it's been ages since I've been here and talking and sharing, and I think it was only a couple of weeks ago. I listened to the music that Dr. Pat and I put together for the opening, and I had my eyes closed at the end of it. Beautiful beings that helped put it together. One I haven't talked to in a while, Matu Ra, get in touch. And a few others. The beauty of that was that it was a lot of my love beings that put it together. And today, I have one sitting here with me, and I'm going to introduce her in just a second. But first, I don't get a lot of time to talk about her, so I'm going to do that right now. And I'm going to let you know that this lady is so phenomenal on so many levels. And the achievements and accomplishments of her soul borderlines on mastery on several areas of her life. I've never said this to her, but now I can say it about her, and there's not much she can do about it, but maybe tell me later. But for right now, the soul being that is sitting here in front of me is one of my dearest friends, closest family, and somebody that I trust in my spiritual and physical journey. And I've never wanted to truly collaborate with a lot of people. I've kind of been a loner. And this lady and Edna Ecker would be the only other person that I've ever wanted to say, let's do something together. So I'm going to introduce you to this lady because we did the show today because we want to talk about an adventure that her soul team and my soul team has brought together, and we will be presenting and bringing it forward in the physical. So you've seen Rita Crosbie before. She was one of the first guests with her brilliant, beautiful husband on the show. And together they are the sound beings, and they brought forward the live gong sound bath for us on that show. But Rita is a lot more, just as Phil is in his way. Rita has her brilliant, beautiful gifts that she brings forward to the teamwork and the partnership. And I want to introduce you to Rita Crosbie today. Not just part of the sound being, but Rita Crosbie, the gift from Creator to all of us to share and get to know. Welcome to the show, Rita. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm suitably embarrassed. I always, thank you very much for those lovely words. I feel exactly the same about you. I always encourage people to be as open to receive compliments and receive the love. And it's always one of those really like little niggly lessons when Spirit reminds you that I've got to practice what I preach. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm here with a big fat curly orange cat next to me, so I'm trying to keep him out of the camera, but if you get a big orange head, it's just because Ollie wants to be in on this and loves you too. So and like you said, you know, it's an adventure, this, isn't it? So I'm really looking forward to our collaboration and where we're guided with it. So it's I think for some people they might be some people are sometimes a little bit uncomfortable with fluidity, but I know we both are. So it's there's this wonderful Delta River that's opening out into a vast ocean. So yeah, I'm super excited about where we're going with this. So whatever it's going to look like.
Well, I love Ollie too. Hi, Ollie. And you know, I've got my big beast in here. You know, he's always
Absolutely.
snoring or farting or doing something, but that's life, and all of our beautiful parts of family are welcome. So, great. You know, Rita, you present me in such a beautiful way when you're talking with others, because they've let me know. Um,
Oh,
and I also get that same niggly.
I
Okay.
know.
So, in order to bring this all full circle, what we are all transpiring to do at this time, and the shifting and the changes that we're all in, everyone needing to receive, everyone needing to give, everyone being called upon and summoned by the universe itself, and every fraction of the universe that they came from or ever lived through or have a part of, the whole being is being called forward in this lifetime. And you know, for years we knew that, but I think within the last 2 years we're actually seeing a reason why. And without getting into all the politics, because that seems to be running our lives, I kind of wanted to do a show today, because some of the basics of being a whole being, uh, that we have struggled to give, receive, and learn and know and remember, um, are the saving grace. I know for me personally, they are the saving grace factors. No hero coming in on a white horse strutting, setting this world straight. Even though if they do, great, fine, I'm happy about that. But we need to save ourselves on every level of our being. And I think that this is a great lesson that's coming forward. But before we get into that, tell us a little bit about Rita, please.
Oh, tell us a little. So where do
Mhm.
we start with Rita? So you know, I think we often sort of play down maybe some of the challenges we've all had in our own lives. So I know, you know, like you know, you've had a lot of rocky mountains to climb and broken glass to crawl over. So, you know, for me, you know, not the easiest childhood. You know, still surrounded by lots of loving beings. Have done a range of jobs, actually in the British government, in my other life, as I like to call it. So when I talk to people, not just with the Zambians, but when I do it with me, I suppose one of the things I like to sort of be clear about is that, you know, I haven't been living on the top of a mountain somewhere just chanting om all day. You know, I've been in the thick of it. I know what it feels like to be stressed. I know what it feels like to be got at. So, you know, I suppose the word is authentic, really, and you take me as you find me in that regard. So we emigrated to Canada just a little over 13 years ago. For those that don't know, it made no sense on paper. We walked away from jobs that had regular salaries and what people would call a safety net to come to a country where we didn't know anybody, didn't have any work lined up. We hadn't even sorted our immigration out. None of it made sense. But it made sense because we followed the calling, really. And for me, you know, that's really part of, well, that's who I am, really, to get people to tap into their own authenticity. And like you said, the last couple of years particularly, the word I've been getting for everybody is authentic. It's about being authentic, because the energy now, it's almost impossible not to be authentic. It's very uncomfortable for people not to be authentic. So that's why we're seeing some of this chaos in the world right now, I feel. And it's this transition for people to understand that they need to follow whatever that feel is. You know, it's not necessarily the good or the bad, or it's about whatever feels right for them. They need to step into that authenticity, really. So that's part of really my passion to do that. So I'm very blessed. I've got a lovely family. We're not all close together. We're dotted about over the world, but I've got a lovely hubby, 3 lovely cats. We live in a great place with lots of fresh air. So I do count my blessings every day. So I don't know, that's pretty me, really. I like to dabble with a bit of art. I've been connected with spirit since I was a child. And it was really only when I went to school when I was about 7, I guess. And the girl, I remember her name, but I won't say it because she might still be out there. And her dad had passed. And I remember standing in the playground, so I was only about 7. And I was talking to her, and I was talking to her about her dad. And because I just knew about her dad, I sensed him. And all the other kids sort of like looked at me and they were like, how do you know that? And I remember thinking, how do you not know that? But the look on their faces, and they did, some of them physically sort of, and in that moment I was like, oh, this is not a good thing. And I mean, my mom didn't talk about that. We didn't really talk like that in the house, but I was always seeing things. And then it took me probably till I was about 19 till I really was authentic about it. And that was because Spirit, the creator, guided me to a place where I moved house. The next door neighbor knocked on the door, and I knew as soon as she knocked on the door what she was going to say. And she wanted me to drive her to a spiritualist center because their car had broken down, and she was said, I know I've only just met you. And then she's like, why don't you just come in? Like, okay. And that was that. So that was my authenticity in that regard probably took me till it was about 19 to do. And since then I've just been me. Some people love me, some people don't, and that's okay. It's just the way it is. It's just, we are what we are, aren't we? So, and we're very blessed. Nova Scotia, we've got to meet beautiful people like yourself, like you and Patrick and the little guy, and we have some amazing beings in our life, so connected, so loving, so, again, authentic, so tuned in, and doing some really amazing stuff with love and energy. So we're very blessed that we have this amazing family, that we're connected to. And it's not about blood, is it? It's about energy. And again, I hope we can help through what we're going to do together to help people embrace that love is love, and it's not about necessarily whether we're blood relatives or not, or it's about who we connect with, isn't it? So
Yeah, that's a really good point that you bring up, because I was thinking there's a lot of separation of people way before this with I think from 2012 on, when a lot of people really stepped up and went, wow, there's something else going on here. And even those that were aware of it but weren't taking the action of it really started to proceed looking for their priorities and how can I bring this and fit this into my life. And when they took that shift and moved to that side of the fence, so to speak, they actually became alienated from a lot of people that they had in their lives. So there was some separation, and there was some things happening with that. But then with what's going on with this CV in the last year, people have even been more separated. Excuse me. And it's been my knowing that, and I'm sure it's yours too,
yeah.
that it's pushed people more into that spiritual realm. That, okay, what am I doing here? How can I help? How can I be of service? What is it that I'm to do? And those people have been pushed very strongly, just like the other. And I don't want to divide people, because people are people. But other people have been pushed a little bit into the physical fear, and they're staying there for right now until they have a solution. And I think that some of the work that you and I are being guided to do with spirit is that we've experienced and worked on a whole variety of modalities, and the labels are all there, and neither you nor I are into labels. We kind of get stuck on our tongue. We're trying to explain it. and this label comes up and we go, no labels. So I really feel that, the separation of everybody and the not just spiritually but physically, defining who your family, who you're connected to, who you choose to be connected to now, and where you're going. And that doesn't mean all the spiritual people are on one end of the boat and
Oh
all
no,
the non-spiritual people are on the other
yeah,
end of the boat. What it really truly means, and what you and I are doing, is bringing them all together. So to come to one of our adventures or gatherings that we're going to be having, you don't have to be spiritual. You have to be human. That's it. Everyone has a spirit, so everyone is spiritual. That's it. There's your qualification. Ding, diploma given. Um, it's about the human race. It's about the universe. It's about how we as individuals on every nation, every culture, every stage of the game, every part of society can come together and love and honor each other no matter, and get rid of this higher, lower, upper, downer.
yeah,
Get rid of it and bring us all together, because I know a lot of times people who don't really practice spirituality don't realize how they balance me out when I'm really way off in spirit somewhere. We all need each other.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to hand it back.
That's it, isn't it? And like yourself, it's and that's why when you say, oh, tell us a bit about me, I didn't list all the things I've done and trained, because it's like, it's all, for me, everything and all the healing modalities, they're all the same. It's all an expression of love, and there's just a myriad of different ways to do that. So whether it's reflexology, acupuncture, or theta healing, or whatever. Some people don't like needles, some people don't like getting touched, so they're not going to go and have certain thing. At the end of the day, it's just love. It's that unconditional love, getting out of the way, not interfering, not trying to control the outcome. And perhaps I feel, probably a long time ago, we maybe needed those chimneys for people to start going down certain paths. But as well as I do, even in that world, there's still, well, this modality is better than that modality. And you just want to put your head in your hands and go, it's just love, just stop it, just be, and go and be passionate about that. And if you don't want to do anything else, that's fantastic, but I think, it's we need to just let everybody be. For me, whatever that looks like, and as long as we're not harming anybody at the end of the day, as long as when somebody's being, they're not, being awful and harming people. But when people follow that feel, whatever that is, and like I say, we don't want to divide anybody. Nobody's better than anybody else, and everybody's playing their role. I think it was Shakespeare, wasn't it, said, the world's a stage and each one must play their part, so even perhaps people in our own lives that are driving us crazy, and I'm sure we're the ones that are driving other people crazy, everybody's playing their part in this great shift, really. And I know the thing that we're collaborating on, the whispered words of wisdom, it's to help people sort of navigate through this journey, but we're doing it together, and everybody's got something to contribute, and everybody's got pearls of wisdom, absolutely. And we've had so many years and centuries, millennia of cultural conditioning to separate people, to put certain people on pedestals. One of the things I'll always say to everybody, particularly when maybe I'm doing development workshops and things like that, is yes, there's amazing people who've been doing things for a long time, and absolutely they've got a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience, and they're very wise, and we should absolutely listen to them. But if there's something, the way they're presenting or what they're saying or their perceptions, if it doesn't sit with us, then it's not to think that we're the wrong. We just need to follow what feels right for us, because it doesn't, and I'm not going to mention any big names or anything like that. Some of them have been doing it a long time, and they've got great pearls of wisdom, but it's not about that. All we can all do is filter this vastness of all there is, with the communication and the knowing, within our own field, within our own language. And I know you feel the same as me about words more than ever now are so poor at doing that. It's like, you struggle to find, because it's like, oh, that's not the right one, and because it's so much bigger than this. So I'd encourage anybody listening now or watching the video later that absolutely watch whatever YouTube videos, go and follow whoever, listen to them, read books, go and do courses, but only take from that which sits with you, what feels right for you, and we don't have to just have that over there. And this, that we can bring all this together. And I feel really that's what it's all about, and I feel sometimes in the effort to give people this individuality, which people do need to some degree, we can also maybe unintentionally alienate people with that. And again, we need to lose the labels. Labels are for jars and not for people, stuff. So.
Well, we kind of need to know if it's size small or size extra large sometimes.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely, absolutely.
And that's great. And I mean, things do have to be kind of named, given that selection or variety, or but taking on the label is a different thing. I try very, very hard when I'm working and talking with people to ask, what do you think? And I mean, everyone says, well, don't
psychoanalyze me.
No, I'm not. What I'm doing is bringing it back to the fact that, like you said, I can share, Rita can share, George can share, Mary can share. Take what you need, leave the rest, because somebody else coming after you may need what you've left. And so think about it in that aspect. And also, if you take something that doesn't fit for you, then ask for it to be given where it needs to be given. You don't have to carry it. You don't have to carry the backpack of things that you're not going to use. Let the universe give it back to someone else. So we haven't discussed what it is, and I'm not going to. I think we have the poster coming up during our first break here, coming up in about 2 minutes. So what I would like to give is the message that Rita and I are collaborating on a new adventure together. We are part of it, and we both resonate with the fact that it's always full circle sharing, right? And so with that, we're going to receive as well as give. And so that's why I gave the big beautiful information about Rita at the beginning, to show that even we have things that are a little niggly. We're human about it, and so we invite you all to be human about yours. And it's not just for people who are over the top spiritual. Our group is open for all. If you're in a crisis, if you're having something confuse you, if you need to be part of this, feel it out and come on in.
Absolutely. And sometimes people just need to think out loud, so they know that they're not the only being experiencing that at that moment in time. Like you say, because there's physical isolation and emotional isolation so much now, even within families and buildings and spaces. So, although we can't all be together physically around the world right now, we can certainly be together in our sacred space when we do this. And it is a safe space for everybody. It's a totally safe, supported space, and it's absolutely 100% contributing for everybody.
That's definitely what we have been guided and pushed by spirit, is to create that sacred space. So I guess we're going to go into a break. When we come back, our listening audience are able to call in and ask any question you have. Put us on the spot. Drill us, give us some questions, things that are bothering you. And Rita and I will share. We'll just share spontaneously and authentically. We promise that. So we'll see you right after this break. Thank you. Welcome back to Divine Guidance with Patricia. I'm kind of getting after a commercial. I never stop talking, asked my husband. So glad to have you back with Rita Crosbie and myself. And I wanted to also mention that Rita and Phil, the Gong People, at gmail.com, actually did the gongs in the intro music of my show. It was a collaboration of everybody, and so that's their beautiful energy and frequency in that. So I don't want to spill the beans. Do you want to spill the beans? What is it that we're doing, and what is it called, and how did it start? And let's just spill the
Oh,
beans.
wow. Let's spill the beans. Okay, so whispered words of wisdom. So of course, what does that mean? Both Patricia and I, particularly Patricia, really, very much you were getting sort of guided, weren't you, very much for us to collaborate. And Patricia and I have, whilst we've perhaps done some different expressions for healing and connecting with the cosmic consciousness, we're definitely on the same page about everything. And we both very much wanted to create a space where, as Tricia was saying earlier, people can come and join us. So the whispered words of wisdom is really going to come from everybody. That's the magic of it, really. And I know it's hard perhaps sometimes now, if you're listening, whether it's live or a bit later on, to go, well, I don't know, it's like, I don't know what words of wisdom I've got. Well, you're all full of words of wisdom. And it's to have this space where, both Patricia and I will be guided to bring some things through, whatever that is. And it's not booked in advance, it's not contrived, it's not really planned out in that way. I'm pretty sure, it might be a day before the gathering, it might be 2 seconds before it might be when we're already sitting there and going, this is what we need to talk about as well. But it's very much this space of safety, of authenticity, of love, where the cosmic consciousness, the divine, the creator, spirit, guides and inspires, again, all these labels that we talk about, that energy can flow freely to us all and through us all, and everybody in that gathering will contribute in some way. And nobody's going to get a script, there isn't a big list. It's a very much about we'll all come and be together, and whatever is needed will be brought, really. That's what it feels like for me, really, which I know that it's hard to put it all into words because it's so much bigger. It's like totally infinite and powerful. There'll be healing. There won't be the 7 winning lottery numbers, unfortunately, because as much as I'd like to know, I don't know. I won't know what the 7 winning lottery numbers are, So when people say, oh, you get guided to stuff, but I don't know what's going to win the lottery, If I did, then, well, it'd be a different world, I guess, because I would have told loads of people, and there'd be a lot of people who need the money to be a lot richer. But, it's not about that. It's about the love and the communication and the healing, really. And I'm sure we're all going to learn something. There'll be wonderful aha moments and wonderful wow moments, and we're all going to do that, including you and I, aren't we?
You bet. It's always got to be full circle sharing. If it's not full circle sharing, then it's ego.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it is that I kept hearing it's time. And so we have limited to 12 people, 12 spots each time. We're going to be offering this the first and Thursday of every month. And I believe it's at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And so the 12 spot is really important because it's more of an intimate. It's not a platform for us being teachers, or it's a safe, very small circle of sharing, and having the wisdom whisper in and through, and allowing that to take place. And it's not just about let's go to the 5th dimension, the 12th dimension, Pleiades, crystals. It's about life. And it's about serving and giving back and allowing people to be who they are. So that's basically what it is. It's so hard to explain, and we won't know.
Yeah, it is.
Because each one will be what everyone that comes. The 12 participants will be so much more the guide to what's going on than what we will. We're able, with our experience and our discipline of spirit and balance, to jump all over anything that comes forward. And as are a lot of people that'll probably be joining. So I can see some beautiful messages and beautiful creations and beautiful directions coming from this. So I let the dog in. He's whining. So you go ahead, Rita.
Okay, so and it's a space as well, to create potential collaborations with people, connect people together. And again, I think if nothing else, one of the positive things, I guess, that's come out of the last 18 months thereabouts is that it really doesn't matter where people are in the world. We've all been forced down this route to use the internet a lot more than maybe most of us would have particularly preferred to in the first place. But on the positive side, it has enabled people across the globe to connect and collaborate. And I see this, the whispered words of wisdom. It's what sort of was coming as Tricia was talking, is that it also creates a space for wonderful things to grow out of that, from people collaborating that come together. Whether they come all the time or whether it's just once or whatever, that these wonderful connections can be made that are then going to move that energy out through all the cosmos, through our planet, and on very personal levels for people as well. So it's I do feel it is time. It absolutely is time. And for me, it's the whispered words of wisdom. When Tricia was talking about that, the next, of course, for me being from Liverpool in the UK, for those of you that don't recognise the accent, the home of the Beatles, it's that the next line out of that is "Let it be." Whispered words of Mother Mary, let it be, speaking words of wisdom. So it's very much that it is about letting it be. And I know, I say for some people, they might want a timetable. At 8:30 we'll be doing this, and it's really not like that. It's to have that sense of trust and confidence to go with the flow. And I know that it's going to go like this. It's going to go really fast as well for all of us, really. So Tricia and I could literally talk for 100 hours without stopping, probably, but we won't. But it is this. For me, it's a very organic, authentic, infinite potential. Really, it's infinite potentiality, and I feel really excited about that. And I'll hint that it's also the start of something that is going to be significantly bigger, and I will hand that back over to Tricia to expand on that a bit more.
Gee, thanks, Rita. No problem. Yeah, we've got, I think we're going to just continue on and not go into the next break. But what we'll do is I'd like to say, if anyone would like to call in, please feel free to call in and ask any questions or have a chat with us. So I'll open up the phone lines now, Rita, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, we are working on a bigger platform, a bigger adventure for late fall, into the early winter, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. For this one here, we're keeping it very intimate. And I believe we talked about having breakout rooms, and Rita having her own topic and I having a topic, and anybody, you can pick which breakout room you want to go into, or we'll just, if it's really an intimate gathering evening, then we'll sit around and do that. We're going to have a lot of different modalities that we can speak on based on my experience and your experience, where it's going to be anything from the Reiki to the sound healing to the earth work to the crystals to the whatever
the list is endless.
whatever the participants bring in. So I think that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm so excited about it. I just feel really excited about it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I do. Yeah, I do.
It's like you can pull the band-aids off now that's been holding you together in whatever area of your life that things have been so strenuous, and pull the band-aid off and come and sit And, you know, bring your cat. Rita has her cat there. I've got my dog here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just connect and be who you are, and shed off some of that stress, some of that confusion. And we invite everybody to come and be who you are, because we're going to be who we are. I'm the same way off of this computer as I am here, and so is Miss Rita. We're
Yeah.
just we are. There's no fluff and guff about us, and that's why I wanted to work with her so greatly. We met a few years ago, and I think we only met up in the physical here on January 1st.
We
But
did, yeah.
we've communicated, we've interacted, and but spirit just brought us together this year, and now I'm starting to discover why. Aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's cool. You know, and in the gatherings, there'll definitely be some, you know, some answers for people, you know, and for us all, really. And those sort of, I suppose, little sort of, I'm very conscious about using the word guidance, because, you know, it's a free will universe and people have got to make their own decisions. But there's definitely going to be some paths illuminated for people, should they choose to take them. You know, that's what I
I
feel.
love that about you, and I use divine guidance just to let you know.
Absolutely. That's it. You know what I mean? But you know, it's like people, because I know sometimes it's like, well, you know, tell me what I need to do. It's like, no, we'll help you discover what you feel you need to do, how you'll be divinely led, how you'll be guided. It's not, you know, it isn't that telling. It is what, because I mean, well, I'm pretty sure I can speak for you, you know, but you know, my family, my dad's Irish, you know, they're Irish, and a lot of redheads, and you know, that Celtic blood, and we don't take kindly to being told what to do, I have to tell you. So, you know, I'm always very mindful about not telling people what to do, because that's just not the way to do it, you know.
It's not divine dictatorship. It's divine
Exactly.
guidance.
Yeah, that's probably,
A
yeah,
recipe
that's
is
it.
a guidance. You know, you got a beautiful recipe for chocolate cake, but oh, I want to put sour cream in there. Yum.
Yeah,
You have the guidance. You have the guidance. So then you take that base or that message and you make it your own. What part of it fits, what doesn't, if you want to add something. But the base that people are looking for in everyday questions and things that they're going through, that to me is guidance. And the guidance is that Patricia's not going to sit here and say, well, it's my experience and you're supposed to do this and do this. It's like the spirit will actually come through and communicate with what's being done, and it will with you as well. And so what we have the ability to do as well is to communicate with the spirit, the soul, and the universe, and others don't. So sitting in that sacred space with two of us who have walked it, let's just get real, we've walked it, we're walking it, we're not talking it, to sit in that space and allow things to come through, and things we couldn't write. I mean, my life, I could not sit down and write a story as whacked out and weird and wonderful as my life. I just couldn't do it.
I know, that's the thing, is, I mean, you know, it's like there's a lot, you know, there are people like that, like yourself, and you go, God, if you watch that in a movie, you'd go, there's no way that could happen to the same person. There's no way, that's just ridiculous, you know. And you're like, oh my goodness me, and there's more besides, you know. So it's and you know, it is that sort of, you know, and I'm not saying everybody has to endure terrible experiences, they absolutely don't. For me though, sort of, it's like the recovering alcoholic, isn't it, or the drug addict, if they go and speak to groups of people, you know, like at Alcoholics Anonymous or a drug program, and say, look, you know, this was me beforehand and here's me now, you know, I've lived this, I've done that. There's that element of, you know, there is that authenticity there is that gravitas there, rather than saying, oh well, you know, it says here in this book if you do blah blah blah, you know, because nobody's interested in the theory of things, you know. But if there's a reality to have somebody to say, you know, and we can't say I know how you feel, because we don't, but we can say, well, I know how I felt, and this is what it was like for me. So I empathize with the struggles you've got, and here are some of the things that I did that got me out of that type of thing, you know. And there was an amazing guy we treated many years ago in the UK with sound therapy, and he was in the world of he was in the doorman's world, so there's a lot of drink and drugs and violence, and it was a very difficult time for that guy. Huge man. And he hadn't actually murdered anybody, but he'd definitely been around when some terrible things had happened. And he ended up in hospital, and it was a lady who just walked past his cubicle and was drawn to go and say to him, I know somebody that might be able to help you. And she didn't know him from Adam, and he asked her, and he, well, like, it wasn't. Anyway, long story short, that's how he found us, and he came for some sound therapy. And it took about 12 to 18 months, but that guy went from drink, drugs, violence, anger, awful, to being, drank orange juice, rescued owls, spoke at schools, spoke at drug places, spoke at alcoholic groups. And we didn't do that. I'm not saying, oh, weren't we clever? We didn't do that at all. But we helped him find that within himself, that there was this. But of course, to have he must have been about literally 6'7". The man was like huge, and for somebody like that to walk into a place, be it a school or be it a drug place, and go, look, this was my life. Here's photographs of what I looked like, and look at my life now. So there's a hope for everybody. And I feel what we've experienced with the CV stuff going on is, for a lot of people, I feel a lot of hope has been taken away from them, or it's vanished, so taken away implies separateness. But and for me, part of the whispered words of wisdom is to help people find that hope for everything back within themselves, because we're all one, we're all connected, we are divine, we are infinite, we are beautiful beings. And we all just need to remember that and be able to express that in whatever way makes us feel peaceful, happy and harmonious, really. And I know there's been a lot of division, there's a lot of families breaking up, there's a lot of relationships breaking up, there's a lot of people falling out, and some of it's encouraged, and but it doesn't detract from each individual needing that communion with the divine, and the communion with everybody, with the people that they resonate with, really. And that can be somebody sitting next to them, or somebody the other side of the earth. And I feel our space is certainly an opportunity to begin to do that for people, really.
I tend to agree with that. And there, Rita, let's get to the topic of, a lot of that was physical, and that's great. A lot of it was emotional and mental. Okay, so, all right. What about those that may be angry with spirit, or feel like they failed in some way with their own gifts and their own knowledge, or their own, and some people who feel ashamed because they don't know how to get out of that emotional fear, but yet they know in their being, but it's really hard to get through that and come out and show that glory of who they truly are on the soul level, and to get back into that spiritual fulfillment that helped the physical, emotional and mental. So I've spoken to a few people who are basically in that spot, and it's all doable. It's all with love. And I'm not talking, okay, airy fairy funky dory, let's all love each other all the way, every way, yay, woohoo, it's a love train. And I love that song, by the way. What I'm talking about is, love is also responsibility itself, to stand up against own self-hate or own self-unworthiness. That's love. Doing the work is love, right? It's not just, let's go take a holiday and sit on this.
Oh, no.
So, there are people who are realizing, oh, wow, I really need to get to work on some things. And I would like to do it with love instead of fear now. So I invite those people to our Whispered Winds session. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. It's because we've all got tools to share of how to do that. And that self-love is often the hardest thing to tap into, isn't it? You know, again, this cultural conditioning, particularly if people have been indoctrinated in certain religions, you know, came again, Irish Catholic family on my dad's side, you know, so, you know, sheep dipped in guilt before people can string a sentence together. You know, so that self-love is a toughie, you know, and we've been taught, haven't we, to look after ourselves as selfish, you know, it's all, but it's got to be balanced, hasn't it? So it's let's do that. Like you say, it's not the, you know, I'm not a hippy dippy, I absolutely am, that's totally cool, you know, painting the face with flowers, you know, but you know, it isn't like, well, let's all just sing nice songs and it'll all just disappear, because no, it won't, you know, we have to do actually action, we have to do stuff, you know, but we can do the stuff, whatever that is, with love, and that's the difference, isn't it, really? And get out of that fear. And you know as well as I do, you know, when people are in that fear and anger, vibrationally, you know, they emanate a very different frequency than when they're in that place of love. Doesn't mean we're not alert to what's going on, doesn't mean we're not concerned, doesn't mean we're not compassionate, you know, but it's that ability to detach from those things and come from a place of love and act in those ways that change things on a personal level, and then ultimately it'll change the world then from a loving place, you know. But we have to take action, you know, and that's the thing. And sometimes, like you say, it's like people, well, they have this knowing and they have this feeling, but it's like, well, how do I take that step? What is it that I can do initially and feel safe in doing that? So, and I know you've got a whole bag of tools for that, you know, as have I, really. So it's and as have they themselves. Yes. We just need to help them open their own bag, really, because that's
absolutely what's there. Let's take another look at it. You know, one of the biggest things in working with people is asking them, have you updated your spiritual toolkit lately? What are you talking about, Trish? So there's a couple things that we can go over. We're going to go to a quick break. I believe that our awesome producer today, Jess, is going to put up the poster again, so the information is available there. We could give out the email address to contact that adventure, which is us, but we have Rita created a special email for people to communicate with. So
I can type that here if you want. I can
try and I think it's going to be shown. The poster's going to be shown.
Okay. So, God, I was going to try and be all technical then, but I won't, because I'll probably press the wrong button and it'll delete the lot.
All right, well, hold that thought, and it is whispering words.
So it's whispered, words of wisdom. Yeah, whispered words of wisdom 369@gmail.com. But it's on the poster.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right
369 because they're the powerful numbers as well. So.
Thank you for listening to Divine Guidance with Patricia on TransformationTalkRadio.com with me, Patricia McNair. Tune in next time to explore more challenges that can help you achieve your whole being. I know we are all capable of truly being whole, and with a little empowerment, anyone can access an entire universe of knowing that is just waiting to be explored. For more information about me and my services, visit divineguidance.earth. That's divineguidance.earth. See you next time, where together we focus on SOULutions for the whole being.